The price tag was hanging out, and so Jenny was just standing there in front of Jake so embarrassed. Oh my god, you should have seen her face, it was priceless.
Yeah, I could imagine.
If you think that story was funny, you should hear about my cat, Mr. Cuddles. I was on this date with this guy, Robert.
Oh god, not
He was
another
a real
story.
loser, by the
I am
way.
so sick of her
Anyhow,
talking.
he came over to
Christ,
my house
she better
and
be
was
good in
wearing a
bed.
t-shirt on
Why,
a date.
why
Can
do
you
women
believe
talk?
that?
They
Anyhow,
never
he
have
comes
anything
over,
interesting to
and
say.
he had no idea
Oh
I
Lord,
had a cat.
I
He
understand
also
why
had a
you
cat,
gave women
a female
mouths,
cat
but
that
I
was
don't
impute,
understand why
and
you
the
gave
scent of
them
her
vocal
pheromones
cords.
were all over his clothes. Well, when he came to my house, my cat, Mr. Cuddles, smelled the female.
Sir, and madam, I trust your meal was satisfactory.
Oh yes, very.
Here is your bill, sir.
Separate bills, please.
Oh, but of course, my apologies.
Separate bills? But I thought this was a...
What's the matter? Don't you have the money? If you're broke, I can loan you the money.
Oh no, that's not it. I have the money, but on a date it is traditional that the man pay for the evening.
Traditional. But you're a feminist. Don't you women fight to end gender stereotypes? Isn't the notion of a man paying for a woman a part of patriarchy?
Well, yes, but it's a part of patriarchy that we like.
I will give you two a moment to make up your minds.
The only reason I decided to date you is because you said you were a feminist, so I just assumed that meant you pulled your own weight instead of parasitically leeching off a man.
There is nothing parasitic about wanting a man to treat you like a lady.
Well, there is nothing feminist about a woman that wants to be treated like a lady, which implies prescripted gender roles, or patriarchy as you feminists call it.
I am a feminist because I believe in equality for women. That doesn't mean I don't want a real man that knows how to treat a lady.
Men and women cannot be treated equally so long as one is treated different in any circumstance. It sounds to me like you just want to have your cake and eat it too.
Well, I don't see the problem with a man paying for my movie tickets and buying me meals. After all, us women make 77 cents for every dollar that a man makes. You can afford it.
Men on a national average make more money because they work more, and choose better paying jobs. If you don't have money, it's because of your own choices. Maybe if you spent more time in computer science than in women's studies, you'd actually have a degree in something that pays the bills.
Well, if us women didn't have to battle for equality, we wouldn't need gender studies. You males are so blind to your privileges.
You may be right, so why don't you help me to see them? What are my male privileges?
Your odds of being hired for a job, when competing against female applicants, are probably skewed in your favor. The more prestigious the job, the larger the odds are skewed.
From an early age men will be instructed never to hit you, but you may not be given the same instructions. However, should you strike males, you can expect not to be hit back.
You can be confident that your coworkers won't think you got your job because of your sex, even though that might be true.
If you're not smart, but pretty, you can marry and achieve the social and financial level of your husband without ever working.
If you are never promoted, it's not because of your sex.
You can produce offspring. A status which grants you an essential status in our species that men can never have and which can never be taken away from you even in old age.
If you fail in your job or career, you can feel sure this won't be seen as a black mark against your entire sex's capabilities.
Regardless of your May value, society has organized fertility clinics and social welfare programs that will allow you to have children, and provide for them should you choose to reproduce without a mate or marriage.
You are far less likely to face sexual harassment at work than me and my female coworkers are.
You not only have the more valuable and sought-after sexual identity, but you also have complete control over your reproductive choice and in many ways over the reproductive choice of men.
If you do the same task as a woman, and if the measurement is at all subjective, chances are people will think you did a better job.
At any time, you can abandon your parental responsibilities with little or no social stigma, and hand the child over to the state or abort the pregnancy. A male could never relieve himself of this burden unless you allow him to.
If you're a teen or adult, and if you can stay out of prison, your odds of being raped are relatively low.
The same is true for women. You have between 1 in 20, or 1 in 100 chance of getting raped. Nowhere near 1 in 4. However, I will concede, my chances of getting raped are lower. You are granted all the rights of a democracy without any of the burdens of military service.
On average, you are taught to fear walking alone after dark in average public spaces much less than your female counterparts are.
I'm not giving you this one either. Men are far more victims of violence than women are. With the other things I gave you the benefit of the doubt, but I am calling BS on this. Now that I've called BS, my turn. At age 18, you lose the protective status of the child but retain the protective status of the female. Boys at age 18 lose the protected status of the child and become targets if they fail to gain status after that point.
If you choose not to have children, your masculinity will not be called into question.
When you marry a man with status, you can take his name and become whoever he has spent years becoming. You need not do anything special to be worthy of receiving the reputation he has built. However, if you wish to keep your own name you can do so. Should your husband feel the sting of this insult, you can simply call him a sexist for it.
If you have children but do not provide primary care for them, your masculinity will not be called into question.
Again, I call BS. A man's role is protector and provider. Not only is he an unmanly man for not being able to support his children, he will have his children taken away from him, and possibly even go to jail for child neglect. If a woman cannot pay for her children, her femininity is not brought into question, and the state will give her welfare. In addition to that, a man is also expected to support his wife if she chooses not to work. If he can't keep up with the bills he is considered a loser, and what's more is when the roles are reversed and a career woman can't pay the bills, her stay-at-home house husband is considered a deadbeat bump for not getting a job. So with this one, you are not just wrong, you are like 400% wrong. My turn. People will help you more when you're in need and you will receive no social penalty or stigma for it.
If you have children and provide primary care for them, you'll be praised for extraordinary parenting if you're even marginally competent.
Okay, but that's because society already views men as unfit parents. In the same way a woman fixing an appliance or changing a tire is met with praise and admiration.
If you have children and a career, no one will think you're selfish for not staying at home.
When you search for employment you can choose jobs which you think are fulfilling without concern of whether they provide a family wage.
So, have you two made your minds up as to how the bill will be paid?
If you seek political office, your relationship with your children, or who you hire to take care of them, will probably not be scrutinized by the press.
You can discriminate against the opposite sex ruthlessly without social penalty.
You know what, I'll just make that bill out as separate checks.
Your elected representatives are mostly people of your own sex. The more prestigious and powerful the elected position, the more this is true.
If you marry and quit your job and enjoy a leisurely life with light housework, and then later divorce, you will be given half of the marital assets.
When you ask to see the person in charge, odds are you will face a person of your own sex. The higher up in the organization the person is, the surer you can be.
If you commit a crime and are convicted, you will get a sentencing discount because of your gender. If you are very pretty it will increase your discount.
As a child, chances are you were encouraged to be more active and outgoing than your sisters.
Sir and Madame, here are your bills.
If you are a partner in crime with a man, you will likely be charged with lesser crimes even though you committed the same crimes, even if you were the ringleader.
You know what, just take me home, this date is over.
But you still have so many more privileges you need to check.
You can tell me on the way home.
Let's see, where were we? Let me get out my list. Here we are. In fact I will start numbering them. 1. You have the option to be outraged if your husband asks you if your behavior is due to PMS, and later on, use PMS as a successful legal defense for murdering that same husband. 2. At age 18 you will not be forced to register for selective service and will not be penalized for failing to do so. 3. At a time of war you will never be drafted and ripped from your employment, home, and family and forced to become a military slave. 4. Your feelings are more important than men's lives. Every precaution will be made to protect you from harassment at work. However, males will make up nearly 100% of workplace fatalities. 5. Your sex controls 80% of domestic spending. You get to spend your money if you have any, and you get to spend men's money. 6. The majority of luxury apparel is designed, marketed to, and consumed by women. 7. 7 times as much jewelry will be purchased by, or for, you, than by, or for, men. 8. You have a department of women's health, whereas men have no such department. 9. Your gender enjoys more government spending on health than males do. 10. Your gender consumes the majority share of entitlement programs while men contribute the majority share of taxes. 11. If you rape or molest a child, you can expect lighter treatment in court and afterwards receive less social stigma. What's more, should you become pregnant, you can sue your victim for child support when he finally turns 18.
Oh, for the love of Pete, can't we turn on the radio?
Sure, we can turn on the radio.
Well, it's not far down to paradise. At least it's not for me. And when the wind is right, you can sail away and find serenity. Oh, the cannons can do miracles. Just you wait and see.
Oh my god, what the hell is this?
It's my favorite band, Sparky and the Fisters.
You know what, please continue with the list of privileges.
It's a shame, no one appreciates good music these days. Okay, where was I? Oh yes. 12. When you divorce your husband, you will be guaranteed custody of his children unless he is deemed to be unfit. Even if your husband is Parent of the Year 10 years running, it is unlikely he will get custody over you even if you are a mediocre parent. 13. When you divorce, you can use false accusations of domestic violence, sexual molestation of the children or abuse of the children, to gain advantage during court proceedings. If you are found out to be a liar, you can expect to get away with it. 14. If a man calls you a slut, it will probably hurt his reputation more than it hurts yours, but at any rate the damage will be small and localized. However, if you call him a child molester or claim that he raped you, you can destroy him completely and the damage may be nationwide. 15. If you fail at your career, you can blame the male-dominated society. 16. You may have the luxury of staying home and being a housewife, but if your sister's husband does the same thing, you're likely to call him a deadbeat loser and tell her to leave him. 17. If you choose to join the military, the best military occupations providing the most lucrative civilian training will be reserved for you. You will be kept away from the fighting as much as possible to the point that you will be 30 times less likely to be killed in a war zone than your male counterparts. You will be given equal pay for less risk. You will never have to consider the fact that by joining the military and getting a plum assignment you automatically forced a male out of that position and into a combat role that may cost him his life. 18. If a male soldier injures himself before a deployment, he can be arrested and court-martialed for it. If you deliberately get pregnant before a deployment or even during a deployment, you will be reassigned and or taken out of a war zone and you will receive no penalty for it. 19. Your gender watches more television in every hour of every day than any other group. This, along with the fact that women control 80% of domestic spending, means that most television shows and advertisement are designed to appeal to you. 20. You can wear masculine clothing if it pleases you, however men cannot wear feminine clothing without social penalty. 21. Not only is there a wealth of clothing choices designed for you, but it is likely that you will be able to afford or have them provided for you. 22. You can claim that a wage gap exists and that it is the fault of sexism, while simultaneously seeking employment without considering income as a priority. You will probably choose your job based on satisfaction, flexibility of hours, and working conditions and then expect to make as much as the males working nights, out in the rain and cold or working overtime. 23. You can be bigoted or sexist against males without social penalty. 24. If you make a false claim of rape against a male in an act of revenge or in order to cover up your own scandalous behavior, you may well succeed at both and he may spend years in prison. If you are found out, it is unlikely you will be charged, convicted, or serve any time at all. 25. If you abuse your husband and physically assault him and the police arrive, it is almost guaranteed he will go to jail. 26. If you are in an abusive relationship, there are a multitude of social organizations to help you get away from him. There are few for men in the same position, even though women initiate the majority of domestic violence, and even though men are hospitalized 30% of the time. Well, we're here.
Oh, thank God. You know what? Don't call me.
You know what? I hadn't planned on it.